Okay, so we're doing a reshoot of episode 8. And the reason we're reshooting episode 8 is because my smoking hot girlfriend was not here when we shot it originally, and it was just Chris and Tom. I mean, how boring is that, right? So anyway, so we decided to reshoot it when you became healthy. You were sick 2 weeks ago, then you gave it to me. So then I was sick for a week, so now we're finally all mostly healthy.
We're all together.
All right.
Then
And Chris was sick the other day, too.
I was sick in Colorado, so I think I got it from you guys.
Yeah.
That was his fault.
And then it was her fault for me. Okay, so anyway, so it's a reshoot because it was just the two of us. It was a little boring, right?
Yeah.
And now we got the hot woman with us. But also, so it all started with your friend. Your friend asked a perfectly good question, which is, why don't I get free health care? Actually, he phrased it a little more crudely, I think.
Very crude.
He was aggressive. And he said, come on, I pay my taxes. I pay 25% taxes. Why don't I get health care? Now, we analyzed that a bit for this particular person, and that amounts to like $2,200, okay? But so let's just talk about some reasons why. Because, by the way, I would love free health care. Who wouldn't, right?
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. Nothing's free in this world. There's no such thing as free healthcare. It's only free to people who are getting it for free, right?
Right.
But somebody's paying. Because everything other than a mother's love and the sun's warmth, everything has to be paid for. And oh, by the way, the sun's warmth has to be paid for with skin cancer, and or raggedy skin when you're older or something. And mother's love is free, right? That's totally free.
True.
So anyway. But nothing else is free. And here's the thing the problem and why people think, hey, I pay my taxes, why don't I get free health care? We're the richest country in the world, right? But here's the thing. I don't think we're the richest country in the world. Don't get me wrong, we have the highest GDP in the world, and that means something. But we spend more money than everybody as well, and we are in debt so deep. What is that phrase from that Dr. Seuss book?
This
Cat in the
problem
Hat?
is so big and so deep and so tall.
We cannot clean it up.
There is no way at all.
There's no way at all. I think those are the words, right?
I think so.
So there was this congresswoman from Massachusetts. I forgot her name. I saw her interviewed, and she said she wanted something. She wanted something paid for, right? And she said, I mean, we spend $900 billion on the military, so the money's there. And I was thinking to myself, what does that mean? The money's there. We're spending $900 billion on the military, so the money's there for whatever she wants. Well, again, nothing is free in this world. By the way, even Medicaid and Medicare are not necessarily free, right? I mean, Medicare is what is paid for people 65 and older, and then people with some disabilities, they get health care, but they still have premiums. Right?
Yep.
And Medicaid is people basically with limited income, limited resources, and they don't pay for covered medical expenses, but there is a bit of a copay at times, even for Medicaid, right?
Yep.
So the big question is, where does the money come from for the government to pay for Medicaid, Medicare, everything that we pay for in this country, including your friend wants free health care? Where does the money come from to pay for this? What are you thinking, Brandy?
Texas.
Texas. Did you say Texas or taxes?
Both.
Yeah. Taxes from Texas. No, you're right. Taxes, right? So we, the people of the United States of America, we pay taxes. And then by the way, we pay both Fed and state. But the federal government can use the tax dollars to pay for stuff, right?
Right.
Just like in your household, right?
Sure.
You've had a budget in your life.
Absolutely.
Right? And the goal is to make more than you spend so you can put money away for retirement,
Exactly.
right? Or for vacations and things.
Yeah.
But that counts on what you're spending.
Sure.
It's for retirement, right?
Yep.
So we get, in 2024, we got around $5 trillion in taxes. Okay? $5 trillion.
Our country made $5 trillion.
Federal government, because there's also state taxes, right? But the federal government got actually $4.92 trillion in 2024.
Okay.
It's about $5 trillion. Let's call it $5 trillion.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so where does it come from? So I did a quick review. In that, it comes from corporate gives us taxes of $530 billion,
Okay.
right? Individuals pay $2.43 trillion.
Wow.
Individuals.
Okay.
There's payroll tax, which is Social Security and Medicare. That's $1.71 trillion. right? Excise taxes are 100 billion. Estate and gift taxes are 30 billion, and customs duties are 80 billion, right?
Yep.
All that plus a little bit more adds up to almost 5 trillion. That's what we make. That's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So we can get anything with that. But
Is that right? What I'm looking at says 15,000 per citizen.
what's that?
5 trillion in federal tax revenue is about 15,000 per citizen.
Okay,
Revenue
so
per citizen.
there are about 160 million people who file tax returns each year.
Okay.
And about 100 million who actually pay taxes.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So what's 5 trillion? Chris, what's 5 trillion divided by 100 million?
50.
50 what?
50,000.
50,000. 50,000? You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Could you do it? Double check him. 50,000. But anyway, your question is, how much does that equal? Well, first of all, the question is, how much is that per taxpayer? But everybody pays different amounts, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
there's 100, and by the way, this isn't all individual taxpayers because again, it's 530 billion in corporate, it's excise taxes, estate taxes, customs, and payroll tax. All of that comes from people.
Yep.
So anyway, whatever that number is, it's not highly relevant, I don't think.
Okay.
But the question is, with all that money of $5 trillion, how much do we spend? And in 2024, we spent around $6.7 trillion. So that means, I think this is pretty easy math. That's $1.75 trillion that we're in the bad, right? So we're already spending more than we're making before Chris's friend gets free health care. Because
Right.
how old is he, like 25, 30?
He's almost 30.
All right, and he's a healthy guy, right?
He smokes a lot.
Okay, but other than smoking a lot, he's healthy.
Yeah, he's okay.
He can work,
He can work.
and he has a job.
He has a job.
Right, okay. So before we give him free health care, we got to deal with the $1.75 trillion deficit, right?
Right.
So where does the money go to?
Okay.
So I did a little search on this too, right?
Okay.
Social Security is around 1.35 trillion, okay? Medicaid, Medicare is around 1.1 trillion, but there's non-Medicaid, Medicare health spending, which is around 878 billion. So it's really more like 2 trillion for government health related spending, except there's also veterans benefits and services, which are kind of healthcare, right?
Sure.
That's another 400 billion.
Okay.
So we're up to 2.4 billion in Medicaid, Medicare, non-Medicaid, Medicare health, and then veterans benefits. We're at 2.4. We're at 1.35 with Social Security. So that's like 3.4, 3.75, 3.8-ish, right? And all we've done so far is pay for Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, non-Medicaid, Medicare, and veterans benefits. Then we got defense, right? That's 945 billion or so. Let's say $1 trillion for easy math, okay?
Okay.
So then the fourth biggest expense on our list, fourth biggest.
Okay.
I know you guys know what that is. What is it?
Interest
The
on
fourth-
our loans.
What is it? Interest on our loans.
Yeah, you told me before.
I told you that's
Good
okay.
answer, Chris.
Yeah, but yeah, good one, Chris. Chris, you're supposed to be my fact guy, right? And all you're doing is spitting out facts I gave you. Okay, so anyway, well, you're supposed to do that math problem really quickly, right? Okay.
I'll edit it out. I'll
You're gonna
just-
make up for it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna shrink the time a little bit, right? Shrink the time on the editing. Okay, so it looked like you nailed it just like that. Okay, so anyway, so the 878 billion, 900 billion among friends, right? For easy math, that's interest on our loans. Okay, so that's over 5.6 trillion just for those things. We're already 600 billion over what we got in tax revenues from all those sources, and we haven't even gotten your friend health benefits yet. The problem is we spend a lot of money. We spend more than we make. Let's just put this into perspective. Brandy, 878 billion in interest on our loans.
Okay.
We spend about almost $1 trillion on defense.
Yep.
What do the next bunch of countries spend on defense after us?
Oh, yeah.
You have a list of those?
I do. I have
Rattle
the
a few
top
off.
10. All
Rattle
right.
them off.
So we spend 997 billion.
Yes.
According
Okay.
to this. Okay, 997 billion.
Right.
The next closest is China, 314 billion.
Okay, 314.
Third.
That's second.
Russia, 149 billion.
149.
Germany, 88 billion.
88. for Germany?
India, 86 billion.
86 for India.
The UK, 82 billion.
82 billion for India or for the UK?
Saudi Arabia, 80 billion.
Oh, they spend a lot. Okay, 80 billion for Saudi
Compared to
Arabia.
us. Ukraine, 64.
64 billion for Ukraine.
France ties the Ukraine, 64.
64. Okay, let me see what we're at so far.
Wow.
Oh shit, we're like around the same as our interest on our loans. We're around 900 billion or so. So the next 8 countries after us do not or just spend on military the amount we spend on interest on our loan. Right?
Wow.
And by the way, you want to get scared, go to a thing called the US National Debt Clock. It's like debtclock.org or something. That site is terrifying. When I first found that a few years ago, it kept me up at night. And by the way, when I first found it a few years ago, it was like 28 trillion. What is it now?
37 trillion.
30. Oh, here's the worst part.
And
Wait,
rising.
37 trillion in what? What extras?
What do you mean? What?
37 trillion.
107 billion.
Okay. I checked that clock this morning and it was 36 something.
Ooh.
We're into 37 already.
I mean, it's rising fast.
Yeah, the clock is going up so fast. That's our debt. That's the reason we have an interest on our loan of like almost $900 billion just on interest on our loan, our 4th biggest government expense, right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Scary.
And you know, so how do we pay for free healthcare? We don't know. Around this table, we don't know. But we're just trying to get some information out there to people who might not look at the USDebtClock.org all the time, right? And by the way, my message is never look at it
Don't.
because it's scary, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's just talk about the difference between a surplus and a deficit just for a
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
Surplus is when you make more than you spend.
Correct.
Right? So if the US
good.
government made 5 trillion and we spent 4 trillion, we have $1 trillion surplus.
Right. We'd have money to save.
Right.
put
If we
towards
made
anything.
if we did if we spent 6.75 trillion and we made 5 trillion, we have a deficit.
Yep.
And a deficit is when you keep going into debt. And the reason that debt clock keeps going up is because we keep spending more than we're making. And it's going up so fast it's terrifying. But do you know that since 1972, I think there have been 4 surpluses.
Okay.
Chris, search that for me while I'm talking about it. 4 surpluses. And I think those were all Bill Clinton. I think George Bush got credit for one because he stepped into office, but did you search it?
2001, 2000, 99, and 98.
That's right, Bill Clinton, right? And then George Bush got credit for the 2001 one,
Yeah.
but I think it was Bill Clinton. But those are
Say more.
surplus.
Why?
Why did he get credit
Yeah.
for it? Well, because he got into office. Didn't he get into office in 2001? The election was the end of 2000, and
Okay.
he got in January of 2001. So I'm guessing that he didn't change everything right away. So maybe it was a mix of Clinton and Bush that helped us do that. And I remember Bush gave out a big tax cut his first year, way back when. And you know, I remember that because I was on the podium speaking with Bill Clinton's wife, Hillary Clinton, at this thing in Rochester. And she got talking about the fact that Bill Clinton or George Bush said, hey, it's your money. We don't want to keep your money. We're going to give it back to you. It's a surplus. And Hillary was saying, it's not really a surplus in the way you'd think it is.
Right, right.
So, but anyway, we've had 4 surpluses. Every other year has been a deficit.
Wow.
And here's another cool factoid. When Bush took office in 2000 timeframe, our debt was 5.6 trillion. When Obama took office, I think it was 10 trillion. Wow. When Obama left office, it was 20 trillion, right? I think when Trump left office, it was 26 trillion. When Biden left office, it was 34 trillion, and now it's 37 trillion, okay? And the issue is the interest. And let's put that into perspective. How much, 160 million people filed tax returns in 24. But only 100 million of those tax people actually paid taxes, right? So let me just tell Henry Suzuki we can't talk at this moment. Better shut him off there too. But only 100 million of those tax filers paid taxes. So we would have to pay an extra around $18,000 per taxpayer in order to balance our budget so that we don't have a deficit, we don't have a surplus, we don't have a deficit. We're even, right?
Yep.
That would be 18. Before your friend gets free health care, we got to pay for what we got, right? That means everybody's got to pay an extra $18,000 a year in taxes, including your friend, by the way. He's got to pay extra $18,000,
I don't
right?
think he's going to come up with that.
He's not going to come up with it. But anyway,
Making 20.
yeah, he can't live. So we already taxed him $2,200. So he's down. He's negative. He's on the street. He's suffering.
You should just pay for healthcare.
Yeah. So anyway, so what would it cost to give essentially free Medicare for everybody? Free Medicare for everybody. It would be around $3.5 trillion. Okay? Now, it's not as bad as it sounds because we're already paying around $2 trillion on Medicaid, Medicare, non-Medicaid, Medicare health spending like the children's health programs
Okay.
and veterans benefits, right?
Okay.
So it's really an extra 1.5 trillion that we would have to pay, right?
Okay.
So with a $100 or 1.5 trillion dollars that we have to pay extra, that's another 15,000 per year. 15,000. So now we're up just okay. So you do to break even, then cover the health care that would be excess. It's another 15,000. So every taxpayer would have to pay $33,000. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'm pretty sure my company plus me pay around $33,000 for healthcare right
Okay.
now. I think the company pays around $18,000, and I think I pay around $12,000 or $14,000, something like that.
Okay.
So we're around that right now. I'm not sure everybody does that, but I'm a family. I know that individuals pay less, right? But that's the problem, is that we don't have a lot of money
Right.
to spend. We have to figure out a way to reduce either, I don't know, let me just whisper these two things, okay? Increase taxes or reduce spending. No one wants to do either of those two
No.
things. But we need to innovate somehow.
Yeah.
In fact, we should have, before this episode, done a search on Gemini or GPT on how to balance the federal budget, right? Because AI could probably tell us how to do it. Are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. See what. Now, one thing that people say is, well, Sweden has free health care, Norway has free health care, and Canada has free health care, right? So why can't we?
Right.
Well, I did a quick search and found out the average personal income tax rate in Sweden is 52%, and it has been as high as 57% within the past 10 years, okay?
Okay.
Norway average personal income tax is 57.3%. So your buddy said he's paying 25%, and he's a little ticked about that, right? 57.3% gets you free health care in Norway.
You know what I think he's going to say to that? He's probably going to say, well, if it's going to good programs, he might be willing to do it.
Well, and another thing is he's not paying that much,
No.
right? Because if he pays another, because look at, healthcare costs me and my company like $30,000. So if your buddy pays an extra, basically pays 57%, he'll be paying like 11 grand.
Yeah.
Right? Which would be crippling for him, I think.
It will hurt.
Yeah, because he only makes like 22.
That's
or
what my
something.
dad talked to me about when he was in Germany too. It's like it was kind of painful to see how much money went to taxes.
Yeah, so now in Canada, I don't know what their tax rate is, but I do know this. I have a Canadian friend, because we're a border city, right? And he always comes to the U.S. and pays for procedures out of pocket because it takes so long to get treatment in Canada. Because when something's free, I think everybody just uses it for whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I also know that companies who have Canadian employees, U.S. companies with Canadian employees, will pay for them to have private health insurance just to give them a balance of what the people that are working in the U.S. make or getting in terms of benefits.
So if you work in Canada, you can use theirs, or Canada also has private.
Yeah,
health?
you can have private in Canada
They
too.
do, okay.
And a lot of people pay for private in Canada because it takes so long to get, I mean, there's probably a whole bunch of reasons,
Yeah.
but they probably want better care, right? So, the thing is, why can't we have free health care? Well, we don't have the money. We'd have to balance our debt or our budget first, and that's already $18,000 per taxpayer on top of what you're currently paying. And then it's another $15,000 on top of what you're currently paying for health care. And or the other way, right? If you don't want to increase taxes, you can cut costs, right?
Yeah.
But in order to cut costs, we need to cut out to get the free healthcare and balance the budget. We need to cut out about 3.3 trillion out of 6.75 trillion. Okay,
Wow.
That's 50%. So, I mean, how many jobs in the government would have to be cut? 50% of all of our spending. Military goes from 999 down to 500, right? And oh, by the way, though, no, the problem is 2 trillion of that is already for free healthcare. So it would actually be more than that, right? Because you can't cut the money for free healthcare.
Oh my
So I mean, all of our revenues are already spent on things we need, like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. How are people going to feel if you cut Social Security, right?
Wow,
I mean, I'm at the age now where I'm like, I don't know, 5 years from maybe collecting Social Security, and I've been paying in my whole life. Now you're going to come to me and say, hey, we're going to cut your benefit by half.
It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, if they told me I have to work longer, that's cool. I'd do that. But in other words, we need an innovative approach. I don't know what that innovative approach is to get your buddy free healthcare, but we need to innovate. We need to figure out a way to do things differently with respect to what we're spending on, because we can't just cut costs. You can't just say, hey, we're going to cut 50% out of the free healthcare budget that we already have, right? Out of the Social Security budget, out of the military. Oh, let's cut our interest payments by half. How do we do that? We need someone to loan us all the money
And then
at half the interest rate, right?
Yeah.
So those things can't happen. We're not cutting veterans' benefits. They don't get enough as it is,
Nope.
right?
Nope.
So where do you cut? You can't cut.
can't cut.
And nobody wants to increase, so that means we have to innovate, right? And I'll give you one idea that my mom gave me.
Okay.
Okay? So my mom lives in an elderly community, and it's awesome, by the way, right? You've
Yes,
been
it
there.
is. It's awesome.
I mean, it's fantastic. They even built like an auditorium to put productions on there now, right?
That's awesome.
They got a swimming pool.
Yep.
They have a weight room. They have a pond that you can walk around, you know?
Nice.
They have a restaurant on their facility, right? It's nice. But her idea is, why don't we have these programs by the government, and they're elderly communities, and when you turn 65, you don't get Social Security, you get to live in one of these places. Now, if you want to live, and maybe we can do it way less, you know, like maybe the costs of doing that are way less than paying out the $3,100 a month that you're paying to Social Security recipients. So her statement was, hey, you don't get your money anymore, but you get to live in one of these places, and they're everywhere. They're all over the place.
Okay.
And maybe that's the way to cut costs. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It might be twice the spending for all I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's one idea that when I was talking to my mom about
Something that
this,
you could hash out. and
yeah, I
see.
mean, it's an innovative approach,
Yeah.
right? And again, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying it's an idea, right? It's an idea. And maybe the same thing with Medicaid, Medicare. Maybe there's a way to make it so that doctors somehow don't cost as much money for Medicaid, Medicare, but it's got to be something way bigger than we are at this table. I mean, you're smart, I'm mediocre, but the three of us together don't have enough brain power to like figure this out, even close. I mean, it would take us, we'd have to quit our jobs and spend full time having Chris be the fact guy, me acting like I know it all, even though you guys are giving me all the information. You know, you're the hot chick on the side that somehow comes up with all the answers, but we'd have to quit our jobs to figure something out.
Yeah.
But aren't there people already thinking about this?
That's their job to think about it.
Isn't there somebody whose job it is? Like our government officials, perhaps? You know, the people that are running our country, are they figuring it out?
Or are they overworked to thinking about other things and nobody's got their eye on this ball?
I don't know. But we're up to 37 trillion, 100 billion, and probably rising. It's probably up to 120 billion by now. Just, what is it now? What's the number?
107 billion.
Okay,
37 trillion, 107.
But what was it a few minutes ago? It was like 106 billion,
It
right?
was 107, but lower. We're yeah.
But that's billions. That's in the billions, right?
That is, yeah.
So, and that was just during this podcast. It went up by a lot.
Yeah.
At least hundreds of thousands or even millions. It went up by, right?
It goes up by hundreds of thousands every second.
Every second.
100,000 more.
100,000 more. It's
100,000
stunning, right?
It really
And that's
is.
why there's got to be big brain people out there that have like Harvard and Yale degrees. They have master's degrees or PhDs in this sort of thing that are figuring this out.
Yep.
Where are they?
Yeah. I
And
don't
why
know
is
where
that
they
clock
are.
still going so fast?
Yeah.
Because it's been going fast for a long time. Like, I think I discovered it 10 or 15 years ago. It's been going fast for a long time.
This is scary. They should put this anytime you try to access the internet. They should make you
I
look
got
at
to
this
you know what?
clock.
Should be at
Do
the
this
end.
search, Chris. Do
Right?
this search. Was the U.S. debt clock in Times Square at one time? I think I heard, it might be a myth, but I think I heard that the U.S. debt clock was once in Times Square. And what I heard about it was they took it down,
Yes.
whoever they is.
In
Did you
20
say yes?
Yeah.
What did you find?
2010.
In 2010, what did it say?
2010. Oh, it's under 2010 and 2017
Where was it?
on Times Square. The national debt clock was on the Bank of America Tower.
Bank of America Tower, Times Square, the national debt clock.
The
did
first
they
time
take-
it was in 1989 they did it.
Why did they take it out?
I don't know, but do you guys
Scare
remember?
people to
do you
death.
guys? It was maybe too terrifying. Do you guys remember somebody named Ross Perot?
I do.
Well, by the way, have we reached our limit yet?
Second clock was in 2000.
It's almost 30.
Okay. By the way, Ross Perot, 1992, he ran as an independent against George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton, and his whole thing was the debt. And he used to rent
Oh, I
time
remember.
on Tuesday nights from like 7:30 to 8, and he'd go through his pie charts and he'd try to explain the debt to people and what was going to happen. And basically what he said was going to happen is eventually our interest on our loan is going to be so painful for us that we can't tolerate it any longer, and that's where we are. And that was 92, that was 2002, 12, that was 32 years ago.
But people just keep passing this problem to the next generation.
I think it's because no one knows how to solve the problem. Because again, you can't solve it by raising taxes because nobody's going to want to pay an extra $33,000 to pay the taxes and get Chris's buddy free health care, right?
The clock is Midtown Manhattan now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's still up.
So it's still up. But anyway, forget the free health care. Just get the clock going in the other direction, right?
That would be
That's another
huge
like
feat.
$18,000 in
Just
taxes.
Slow it down.
Yeah, no, get it to reverse. Get it to go the other way. If we get $5 trillion in taxes, let's spend $4,900,000,000,000.
So originally when we
Or 4 billion.
when we
Four
first
trillion nine hundred
decided
billion.
to talk about this, I thought it's been like this forever. I assumed that we had been doing this forever, but you're saying that we had a balanced budget not too long ago.
No. I did not say that. What I said was we had a surplus for that year. So like last year we had 5 trillion in revenue, 6.75 in cost.
Sure.
It was just like not a huge surplus.
We still hadn't paid off the interest on it.
No. We still hadn't paid off the principal.
Oh, right.
We
right,
just turned the debt clock in the other direction for 4 years out of the last 50 something years, right?
But
the debt was way lower, although money was worth less. But the debt, it wasn't worth that much less because, Chris, here's something: do the present value of 5.6 trillion from 2000. See what that is, because, in other words, let's compare apples to apples,
Sure, sure.
because maybe 5.6 trillion from 2000 today would be more like 12 trillion or 13 trillion, but it's still not 37 trillion. You know? And people might complain that there's always that there's we had COVID, we had the real estate crash, we had 9/11, we have all these things, but there will be something, every decade or so,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That
It'll be
really
10 trillion.
10 trillion today?
Yeah.
So the debt was 5.6 trillion in 2000-ish. Today that would equivalent to 10 trillion, right? But we're at 37 trillion,
Wow.
right? So it was way more manageable. I remember when we hit what year did we hit the $1 trillion mark? I think I was alive and well. I think it was like the early 90s or something. Or maybe the late 80s, where we hit the $1 trillion. Because I remember they had, the first time it was a big thing, they had to do like a act of Congress or something.
1981.
1981. They hit the $1 trillion mark, and that was like, oh my God, the debt ceiling is $1 trillion. And everybody went ballistic. Now it's 37 of those,
Wow.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Oh, by the way, though, 81 you said it was?
1981.
It went to $1 trillion.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay, so let's say that it doubled to, one presidency, let's say over 8 years to 2 trillion. 8 more years would take us to 94, 4 trillion. 8 more years to 2002 would be 8 trillion. So it's been doing doubling like every 8 years. It's been doubling. So
That's
anyway,
crazy.
I don't have the solution to that problem. We need to innovate something big, right?
Yep.
And we need help from I think we have like 8 million users now. Watchers,
Absolutely.
right?
We're killing it.
We're killing it. 8 million. It's either 8 million or 11.
Wow, it's like I'm just thinking at 2016 it was 19 trillion.
19 trillion. We've doubled
Wow.
since 16.
It's
Yeah.
not
Right?
showing
About
any
every 8
signs of
years, it
slowing.
doubles.
Holy shit.
Because we're at 37 trillion today, right? Wait, did you say it was 19?
19.6
19.
trillion.
Yeah, we just keep, every 8 years, we keep doubling this thing, which means 8 years from now, if we keep up at this pace, it'll be over 70 trillion,
Oh my gosh.
right? I mean, if we keep at this
Yeah.
pace,
Yeah.
it's maybe not quite doubling every 8, but it's close, right?
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
So anyway, I don't have a solution. Chris, do you have any great solution? Brandy?
Nothing. I got
No,
nothing.
I got nothing.
Just
right.
tax people.
All right, let's get somebody to chime in here. Oh wait, first of all, no, you said tax people.
Oh,
Tax people. Well,
Tax
that's the thing.
people,
It's,
but don't tax me
there you go. Or your friend, right? Or your friend.
or my friend.
Right. All right. Well, anyway, great episode today.